Welcome back. It's me, Lou. I'm here for another action figure unboxing and review. Today we are going to jump into the time machine and travel back a whole 19 years to the year 2005. As we take a look at this from Toybiz and Marvel, we have the Marvel Legends Wonder Man from the legendary Rider series. This really takes me back. This is a long bygone era of Marvel Legends. Older collectors will recall, the excitement and anticipation of new Toybiz Marvel Legends action figures. Toybiz, oh man, they did such an incredible job of giving us almost everything back in the day. And they really spoiled us, and I kind of feel like, I really miss, this specific era of collecting action figures. They really tried to sell you on this toy everywhere you looked. We look at the box, super posable, 36 points of articulation. It comes with a bonus comic, 32-page comic book. You get the little tiny yellow jacket figure. You get the vehicle. This was part of the legendary Rider series. And you get a trading card and a comic book. It's like you get the whole kit and caboodle. And I really do miss that. I mean, nowadays you get the Build-A-Figure and extra accessories, but there was just something about this time period. So in addition to getting the action figure, you also got this kind of cool, almost like G.I. Joe Transformer-esque, bio with the data card. Here's the power grid, lists Simon's intelligence, strength, speed, durability. This is the kind of stuff, if you're a kid, you eat all this kind of information up. It gives you an idea of how does one character compare to another. Simon Williams has been an industrialist, an actor, a superhero, and a crook. Along the way, he died twice. Delivered from the unreality of beyond by the power of love and driven by a desire to atone for the sins of a past life, Wonder Man strives to make the most of his second chance. And then you can collect them all. Here are the other figures in the legendary Rider series. You have the Hulkbuster Iron Man with some sort of crazy glider. You have the first appearance Thing that comes with kind of that Fantastic Four cycle. You have the Taskmaster with a somewhat similar Hobgoblin kind of glider also. You have Vengeance on his very Ghost Rider-like motorcycle. Wanda comes with her scooter. Ultron comes with another glider, much like Green Goblin and Hobgoblin. Wonder Man, which we're looking at, comes with his air cycle. And of course, Logan comes with the motorcycle. All right, so today is March 17th, 2024. The reason why we're looking at this is because I was reading X-Force recently. And if you're reading any of the X-Men books, they're kind of wrapping up the age of Krakoa before they unroll the new X-Men lineup. And in the pages of X-Force over the last few years, the main villain has been Beast. And Beast has gone kind of rogue. In order to combat Beast, Wolverine and Sage kind of think it's best that they combat Beast with a Beast. So Sage has kind of kept a clone of Beast in her closet. And that clone of Beast has the memories of Beast from when he was with the Defenders from years ago. So he comes, they resurrect this clone Beast. He comes back and he knows he has to take down current Beast. And the only person he can depend on is his best friend, aka Wonder Man. So he seeks out Wonder Man and they're going on this adventure together. So, reading that book kind of brought back all these memories of, Simon and Hank on their early adventures. And I'm I really need a Wonder Man figure. And even though Hasbro does make a Wonder Man in the Marvel Legends, it's current Wonder Man. And I'm really much more partial to the Wonder Man from the 90s and early 2000s, which this figure represents right here. So that's why we're checking this out. And I got this figure for a steal of a price. I got it for I think $18 or $19. So, on top of getting the figure, I'm getting the air cycle, which I could even use in Marvel Legends. And then I got a comic book and trading card. So it's cool. Even though I love this older style of packaging, I hate the amount of work it takes to open these older boxes. And these scissors are too small. Let me grab the big ones. Alright, so we get the comic book, if I could get that out. That looks great. I gotta say, there's something about, they always say that one of the key things that triggers like memories is smell, and there's something about the smell of these older action figures from the 90s. As soon as I opened up the box, that kind of smell just hit me in the face. I don't know like what they made action figures of back in the day, but there's a very specific kind of smell of this kind of plastic, and it really brings back a flood of memories of collecting toys like in the mid 90s, late 90s, and early 2000s. I'm not sure if that smells toxic, but yeah, for me it's a good smell. It reminds me of collecting action figures, during my high school and college years. Here's the air cycle. I don't want to forget the little trading card. So if you're an older fan, you'll probably also remember these two. This was from the Upper Deck Verse System collectible trading card game. This is really neat. The small little Yellow Jacket action. It's not even an action figure. It's kind of like a mini statue. And I think you plug this into like Simon's back, so it looks like Yellow Jacket's kind of like flying off of him. Alright, so let's take a look at this. Here is the air cycle. It's collapsible, so it can fit in the package. It's a very hollow piece of plastic, and then it's kind of ratcheted. So it feels like if you kind of do this too much, you're probably gonna wear down the spring or the ratchets. So Simon's feet plugs in there. You can see the foot peg, and then you can hold the handlebars. Is this a scale? This might be the scale with a Hasbro Marvel Legends. Here's the very generic body X-Men Marvel Legend Vulcan from like a year or two ago. And I think the newer style of Marvel Legends should fit on this pretty easily. I'm not sure if the foot peg's the same size. It might be. It's kind of hard to fit the foot on. No, I can't get the foot underneath, but it is to scale. It will work with a modern Marvel Legends. It just requires a little bit of fiddling to get it on properly. But it's a cool accessory. It looks kind of neat. The color scheme kind of reminds me of the GoBot scooter character. If you're familiar with the GoBots, the Kmart Transformers, as they're affectionately called. Yeah, nice hollow piece of plastic. It's cool. I'm glad I got this. Let's take a look at Simon, Wonder Man himself. So this is the whole reason why I bought the set. So if you're a younger collector, these figures probably look atrocious to you. But for me, this is like a good chunk of my life, late high school, college and post college. The head sculpt's decent. The texturing on the uniform is just insane. I don't really understand what kind of look they're going for. It doesn't really look like metal. I'm not metal. It doesn't really look like a spandex or fabric material. Toybiz was notorious for doing a lot of parts reusage, so there's a good chance this could have been used for maybe a Skrull or some sort of alien character, which explains the wild-looking texture, or even maybe like Venom. Yeah, this might have been a Venom body actually. But you can see like the design aesthetic back in the 90s and early 2000s. Everything was just ridiculous. You know, everything was like not just detailed, but it had to be hyper detailed. You couldn't just have like realistic folds and wrinkles. You had to like go for the extreme. You know, this predates digital sculpting, so. And then there's the butterfly joints. You know, so a lot of the articulation that you see in a modern day action figure is present on this. You know, you do have the articulation of like a modern figure, but you know, the anatomy and the way the figure's proportion, it's just a little bit wonky looking. But I love this time period. I'm so fond of it. And then instead of having like different hand options, you just had articulated fingers, which in theory sounds cool, but in practice it made holding accessories kind of difficult, because especially if you got a hand where it was kind of loose fitted, it wouldn't like clasp the accessory as tight as you'd want it to. And there's articulation in the wrists also. It's kind of stuck. Might have to loosen that later. Ooh, that didn't sound nice. So, I don't think it's broken. I just think it's just, you know, it's 20 years. It hasn't been moved before. But yeah, you have articulation there. Waist swivel. I hate the style of articulation they had in the hips back in the day. They had them on these weird ball joints that were very unsightly. And then you have the double pinned in knees. Boot swivel. So a lot of stuff you find nowadays was present on these older figures. It's hard to get his arms just like to lay flat against his body unless they can't go that far down. So yeah, I mean it's kind of an ugly figure, but I'm very, very fond of this time period. And then for the yellow jacket, in theory you're supposed to plug him into the back there, and it makes it look like maybe he's jumping out of his pocket, you know, right there, out of his hip, off his hip. Or if you want, you could try to position it higher, but it kind of collides a little with his arm. So on paper, it probably sounded like a great idea, but in practice, it's just kind of hard to pull it off perfectly. But it's still neat. I could really appreciate that. It's cool. If you're an older fan, you know, this probably like speaks volumes to you. You know, it's a long bygone era of like Marvel toys. Alright, so let's wrap this one up. Once again, my name is Lou. If you're new to my channel, welcome. If you are a returning viewer or subscriber, thank you so much for your continued support. I greatly appreciate it. So until the next video, be safe, take care of yourself, buy lots of toys, and most importantly, be happy. And I'll see you at the next one. Alright, later.